Good day, class and Coach Jude. I am Danica H, Padora, the little teacher of Study Hub 6. Today, we will be presenting to you the overall introduction, and I'll be discussing to you the learner-centered lesson plan. Intended learning outcomes. After studying this module, students are expected to: first, identify the different parts, function, and characteristic of a learner-centered lesson plan. So, it focuses in identification parts, function, and characteristic of a learner-centered lesson plan. So, number 2, compare and contrast an exemplar learner-centered lesson plan with teacher or content-centered lesson plan. So, it compares the learner-centered and the teacher-centered plans. So, for number 3, craft a lesson plan chunk emphasizing the use of selected strategy. And so it creates a lesson plan using a specific strategy. So, for the last, number 4, implement and design lesson plan chunk and appropriately chosen or selected strategy in response to learners' diverse needs. So, learning styles and backgrounds. So, for example, in linguistic, cultural, socioeconomic, and religious. So, it implements a plan adapted to diverse learners. So now, let me discuss first the Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy describes the 6 cognitive levels of learning, from basic knowledge to recall high-level evaluation. So now, let's discuss first the lowest of cognitive levels, which is knowledge. Knowledge recall information, discovery, observation, listening, locating, and naming. So for knowledge is recall facts and basic concept. So next we have comprehension. Comprehension, understanding, translating, summarizing, demonstrating, and discussing. So under comprehension, it's understand and summarize in learning. So next we have application. Using and applying knowledge, using problem-solving methods, manipulating, designing, and experimenting. So application is use information in new ways. So next we have analysis. Analysis, identifying and analyzing patterns, organization of ideas, recognizing trends. So under application, under analysis, it examine and break information into parts. So next is synthesis. Using an old concept to create new knowledge, imagining, inferring, modifying, predicting, and combining. So, synthesis is a compile of information in a different ways. So, from the high level of learning, cognitive levels of learning is evaluation. So, evaluation, assessing theories, comparison of ideas, evaluating and solving, judging, recommending, and raising. So, evaluation is just focused on justify decision and assess value. So, that is what Bloom's taxonomy cognitive levels of learning. So, introduction. Student-centered learning, or RCS, it's an approach that allows students to take ownership of their learning instead of sitting passively and listening as the teacher delivers instruction. In LCL, students create learning goals. In addition, students engage with often by using technology to construct their learning. And students monitor their progress, reflects on their learning, and also make a revision of their goals based off their reflections. So during this process, teachers facilitates learning by providing appropriate scaffolds to support students in learning. So SCL is explain how student-centered learning promote active participation, goal setting, and reflection with the teacher as a facilitator. So now, let's discuss the learner-centered lesson plan. A learner-centered lesson plan is a teacher's daily guide for students need to learn. So how it will be taught and how learning will be measured. So lesson plan helps teacher to be more effective in a classroom by providing a detailed outline to follow each class period. So this ensures energy, bit of class time, it spends teaching new concept and having meaningful decisions and not figuring out on the fly. So lesson plans is define what is a lesson plan in a contrast student-led learning methods with teachers' supportive role. This approach is motivating and engaging for students because it incorporates interaction with others, so often through the use of technology. Likewise, students are encouraged to pursue individual interests and learning preferences are considered. So here is the example of engaging students because it incorporates interaction with each other. So here is the example of engagement of the students and the teacher. So this approach engages and motivates students by promoting collaboration, integrating technology, and allowing them to explore their experience and interests in the learning styles. This approach is motivating and engaging for students because it incorporates interaction with others, so often through the use of technology. Likewise, students are encouraged to pursue individual interests and learning preferences are considered. So here is the example of engaging students because it incorporates interaction with each other. So here is the example of engagement of the students and the teacher. So this approach engages and motivates students by promoting collaboration, integrating technology, and allowing them to explore their experience and interests in the learning styles. So now, in lesson plans, they have 5 main characteristics of effective lesson plan. First, we have builds up students' prior knowledge when planning for lesson. Most of us focus tremendous. Second, effort on the content will be rich. Third, allow for more flexibility. Fourth, clarifies transition. Fifth, allots time for students' involvement. And last, prompts teacher to reflect. So, the 5 main characteristics of an effective lesson plan, it highlights the traits that make lesson plan impactful, such as flexibility, students' involvement, and teacher reflection. So, for our conclusion, learner-centered lesson planning shifts the focus from teacher-led instruction to active student engagement, empowering learners to take charge of their education. By incorporating structured elements such as clear objective, reflective practices, and adaptive strategies, teachers can create flexible, inclusive, and effective learning environments. Understanding and applying Bloom's taxonomy further support the development of higher-order thinking skills. And well-crafted lesson plan tailored to diverse learners' needs foster meaningful, self-directed learning and deeper academic growth.
Good day class and Coach Jude. I am actually si Pedro, the second member. And today, my topic is about instructional learning materials. So the first is learning objectives. Lesson objectives list what students will be able to do after completing the lesson. These objectives let you easily tell if your lesson has effectively taught your students new concepts and skills. It can feel overwhelming to pin down specific takeaways for a lesson, but you can break the process into steps to do it in a breeze. First, it's best to view your lesson objectives as goals for your class and students. By using this method, teachers can create focused, effective learning objectives that guide both instruction and assessment. One of the most popular goal-setting strategies is the SMART criteria, which ensures goals are focused in context of lesson. Planning, you can use the SMART criteria to determine your lesson objectives. So these are the lesson objectives. The first is the objective specific? Number 2, is the objective measurable? 3, is the objective attainable by all students? 4, is the objective relevant to your class and students? 5, is the objective time-based to align with your syllabus? So as you can see here, I highlighted the specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So this is the SMART. S for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for relevant, and T for time-based. So that is the SMART, meaning of SMART. For each objective, it's important to start with an action that relates to what students should be able to do after the lesson. Depending on what topic you're teaching, this action will vary. For example, when teaching brand new concepts, you may define actions like define, defy, explain, and determine. These action verbs help teachers and students know exactly what is expected by the end of the lesson. So when creating your lesson objectives, keep in mind that it's easier to measure student success when you have specific goals. Once you put your lesson objectives together, it's time to tie them in with the next part of your lesson plan, the related requirements. By connecting objectives to these requirements, you ensure that every part of your lesson supports the same learning goals and contributes to student success. So my conclusion is, effective lesson planning begins with well-crafted learning objectives by using the SMART criteria: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. You ensure that your objectives are clear and actionable, guiding both instruction and assessment. These objectives not only clarify that students should learn, but also provide a benchmark for evaluating lesson success. Starting each objective with a strong action verb aligned with students' learning levels enhances clarity and focus. So here is my reference.
So, good afternoon, Coach Jude. Good afternoon, classmate. My name is Shalene Kimverlie Sayadi, third member study hub number 6. So today, I'm going to discuss what is teaching lessons in the lesson planning. So, what is teaching content in lesson plan? So this refers to the curriculum you will deliver and explore throughout the lessons. Learning activities integrates strategies to engage learning in activity learning. So means what the teacher is going to teach in the class in the main topic, ideas or skills that the student need to learn. Next, we have here lesson planning, evaluate or assessments. Planning for lesson, it's a process that involves 3 stages. First is pre-planning. Second is lesson planning. Third is implementations. So we proceed first to pre-planning. Pre-planning. Before writing the plans, at this stage, you think about what to include in the lessons, selecting resources while considering the lesson's objectives and students' needs. So it means getting ready before teaching. It includes choosing the topic, setting goals, and preparing materials and activities to make sure your lesson runs smoothly and students learn better. So the next is lesson planning. Writing the plan. So this is the stages of writing the lesson plan. Following a given templates, it will be better to plan your lessons ahead so that you can be enough time to revise your plans. So the lesson plan, it's when a teacher prepare what to teach and how to teach it to their students. Last is implementations. This is the process of identifying, incorporating, monitoring, and continually refining professionals' learning that helps to the educator enhance their practice and encourage and inspire student academic and non-academic growth. So it's from the word implementation, so it's when a teacher follow their lesson plans and teach it to the class, like doing activities, asking questions, and helping students learn. I have here a references over here.
Good day, Coach Jude. Good day, classmates. I'm Edullantes, and I'm the fourth member of the Study Hub number 6. So today, I will discuss to you about the lesson chunking and the micro-teaching basics. So chunking teaching strategy explained. Let's begin by understanding what's chunking. Chunking is a way of dividing large pieces of information or text into smaller units or chunks to make information easier to understand and process. So, in other words, it is getting all the keywords or small informations just to add more understanding to the topic. By using this strategy, you as a teacher can reduce the cognitive load on students and help them understand the topic using bits of information one at a time. Chunking will also give you a clear idea about which portion of the topic is difficult for your student. So in other words, chunking also give you as a teacher an idea on identifying the difficulties of a student in understanding the topic. You can use chunking for any length of content to enhance the learning process. It has the power to help students memorize a wide range information like location, letters, words, and even music. The steps involved in the chunking process will depend on the information you wish to chunk. It could involve, so the first one is breaking big pieces of content into smaller units. As I explained earlier, it is breaking or dividing the topic into small pieces so that the student can easily understand the topic. So the second one is identifying any patterns of similarity in the smaller chunk. It is help to brain recognize and retain the informations more easily. So the third one is organizing the information into different groups. It is a core step of a chunking strategy and helps make larger amounts of data more manageable and easier to remember. So the last one is the collating similar groups that one can study together. So it is combining related chunks into broader categories that can be studied together. This helps build connections between concepts and improve retention. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, class and Coach Jude. I'm Joannekarissa H, the fifth member, and today I'm presenting chunking as a teaching strategy. Why should you use chunking as a teaching strategy? Chunking contained into smaller manageable pieces is a great way of teaching new topics. Students can driven a host of benefits if you strategically break down your content into a smaller chunk. So chunking means breaking big lessons into a smaller, easier parts. It helps students learn better by making hard topics into smaller. So here are some big reasons why chunking is a good idea. Number 1, enhance memorizing capacity. So when students get too much information all at once, it's hard for them to remember everything. So chunking gives them small pieces to focus on so their brain doesn't get too tired or confused. Number 2, we have help students synthesize information easily. When you break information into smaller parts, it's easier for students to remember it. They can think about small group of idea instead of trying to remember everything separately. Number 3, helps them identify difficult words and phrases. Chunking helps students see how different pieces information fit together. This way, they can understand the bigger picture more easily and not just memorizing facts. So number 4, we have makes it easier for them to understand the idea and keyword in a better way. When lessons are broken into small parts, students can quickly find words or sentences they don't understand. Teacher can then explain these difficult words before moving on. Number 5, we had enhance their ability to comprehend and paraphrase the content. This means breaking things into chunks helps students see what the most important ideas and words are. They can focus better and know what they really need to remember. So now, let's move on to the tips to use the chunking method effectively. So, to make chunking work really well, here are some easy tips. So, number 1, assess the learner's knowledge. So, before you break down a topic, find out what your student really know. This way, you won't waste their repeating things they already understand, and you can teach them something new. So, number 2, group related information together. So, this means making sure the ideas in each chunk are related. So, grouping similar things make it easier for students to connect and remember the information. Number 3, use visual aids. So, adding pictures, drawing, charts, or mind maps makes it even easier for students to understand and remember each chunk of information. So, number 4, we have the introduce one chunk at a time. So, don't give students too much at once. Teach one small part first, let them understand it, and then move on to the next part. Number 5, we have the provide summary and recaps. So, after each chunk, do a quick review. You can explain it again shortly or ask students to tell you what they learned. This helps them remember better. And lastly, we have encourage activity engagement. So let students join activities like small group tasks, quick games, or practices exercise. After learning each chunk, doing something with the new information help them remember it longer. So in summary, chunking is a helpful teaching method where big topics are broken into smaller, easier parts. It makes learning less overwhelming, helps students remember better, and allows them to understand idea more clearly. So chunking also helps students notice difficult words and explain what they learn in their own words. To use chunking well, teachers should check what students already know. Group related ideas together, use picture or charts, teach one chunk at a time, give quick review, and make sure students are active during lessons. By using chunking, learning becomes easier, faster, and more fun for students. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching.